Welcome back to Mock Draft Madness, day 29. I'm doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft on April 25th. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. Let's get right into it. I'm trying to think of kind of what I want to do differently for this one. Yesterday was a little bit more out of body than normal, so I think I may try to do a little bit more normal of a mock draft today. Like I said, leave suggestions in the comments, guys. There is a suggestion for doing one where it's like a no needs draft, I believe is what he was referring to, where it's like you only pick, maybe the best player available. It doesn't matter really your need. I don't know why it took so long to get that. But I also was thinking about doing, because I was supposed to do a 2-round mock today, but I got family in for Easter, so I was with them for the day. But I should be able to do my 2-round mock, my weekly 2-round mock tomorrow morning, kind of as an Easter special. Maybe I'll... Never mind. That was going to be a horrible joke. But I did create a consensus board where I took some of the top consensus board for prospects and put them into like a spreadsheet and calculated, where they ranked amongst all consensus boards. So I may try to use that as like a BPA approach once we kind of get to the second round and mix that with team need a little bit more. I know I already do that, but anyway, let's get right into it. Caleb Williams, number 1 to the Bears. It's going to be like that every time because I just don't see them taking anybody else. I can try and be different, but the reality is it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be different just to be different. Washington Commanders. I have been going Drake May, but I think I'm going to lead. I've been going Jaden Daniels. Or no, I've been going Drake May. Yeah, I'm all over the place to start. Let's go Drake May today again. Or I'm going to go Jaden Daniels, throw it off a little bit. So now with the Patriots on the clock at number 3, I think the reality is they take Drake May because I just believe in what he has as a prospect in his tools and everything like that. Like, he has a higher ceiling than Jaden Daniels in the NFL. But I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility that the Patriots trade back. And I think, they could even trade back to maybe a team like 6 and possibly still get, their quarterback, because the Patriots the Giants would be like probably the top team that would want to trade up. And then you get Marvin Harrison here. And then unless the Vikings trade up here, they could get JJ McCarthy. But the reality is, if JJ McCarthy's on the board, they're really just competing with the Broncos. And the Broncos don't have the ammunition to get into a bidding war for a quarterback. So I think Drake May ends up going to the New England Patriots, but that is always an option. So what I'm actually going to do here is something that I haven't done in kind of quite a while. Not quite a while, but like I've never done this trade, like Giants to Patriots. So do I think this is going to happen? No. Do I think it is likely to happen? No. But I think maybe that may get it done just to move back a couple spots. Maybe even like a third next year. We're going to force that pick through. Oh, this has a 68% chance to get accepted. I wonder if I added. So they're saying this is probably the value. A first swap in 2 seconds. I think it's probably going to cost more because you're bidding against the Vikings. So we're going to force that trade through. Giants are now on the clock at 3. They are going to take Drake May. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Cardinal, and that leaves the Patriots in an interesting spot because they could now, if they want to, go up and swap picks with the Chargers and go grab JJ McCarthy for sure. Or if the Chargers choose to stick and pick, they could get JJ McCarthy. So they might be able to gather draft capital for their rebuild. And if we look at kind of their net, they have 6, 34, 47, 68. Like, they have 4 picks in the top 68 picks. That's pretty good. And they have a decent amount of picks after. And then they also have 2 second round picks next year and 2 third round picks. So they kind of have kind of a good base to rebuild their team. And if they believe that JJ McCarthy can be that guy and sit him for a year anyway, you may have enough talent around the team where when he's put into play, he might be that guy. And JJ McCarthy strikes me as a New England Patriot type player. So maybe the Chargers are going to go, let's just say they go Malik Neighbors here. And with the Patriots on the clock, they are going to take JJ McCarthy. So I still believe Drake May obviously is the better pick, but if you want to get some draft capital, you could move back. Like I said, I don't believe this scenario is that much likely, but 29 days straight of mock drafts. Let's switch it up a little bit. Tennessee Titans on the clock. I think, I've been going Rome recently and even Brock, so I'm just going to give him Joe Alt here. I think that is a situation where you're really solidifying that offensive line. You have Peter Skoronski, you have Lloyd Cushenberry, you have Joe Alt. You're giving protection to Will Levis. Now, the Falcons are a team that, as we've gotten closer, I think are more and more likely to kind of trade out of their spot, because the reality is they can probably get any of these defensive players a little bit later. So Rome Odunze is definitely like a top 3 wide receiver in this draft, and I wonder if there's any teams here that are willing to kind of trade up and go get him. I think it would be kind of nuts, but I do think it is a possibility that the Bills are going to make like a crazy swing in the draft this year. Just because, I don't know, they have to kind of rebuild that roster a little bit. It's not bad by any means, but I just think like they kind of, not rebuild's the wrong, like revitalize after kind of they purged their roster this offseason. So at number 8, I think I'm going to be looking to trade out if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, and maybe in a spot that is in the top 19, so you're still able to get one of those edges. I don't know if any of these teams would really be looking to give up that much capital to go get Rome. The team that is really enticing to me is probably the Indianapolis Colts, because of the fact you're able to pair him with Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. I think the Saints could also be a player, but I think Trenches is kind of more of their need. And maybe what we could do is, I don't know if this would be something that they would do, but maybe the Steelers can go up and get Rome? Maybe we give them a third? Or do you think it costs a first next year? I don't know what it would cost. I don't know what it would cost to go up and get Rome. You're trading into the top 10. You're moving back 12 spots. Maybe you swap and you give 2 seconds. They do need a wide receiver. I don't think this is necessarily the play, but out of teams that need receivers, the next team I'm thinking of is probably the Bills, and I just don't see them trading up that far. That would cost so much. Let's see what it would cost if we go to the Buffalo Bills. So let's say we swap picks, we give them 60. That's the issue, though, is like their picks are so late. With the Falcons, it could be earlier. You don't know what the Falcons are going to do this year. So let's do that then. Let's swap picks and give them 2 seconds. Let's force that trade through. With the Steelers on the clock, they're going to take Rome Odunze to pair with George Pickens and give Russ and Fields as much as they can on offense. At number 9, we have the Bears. I don't really love this situation for them. I don't, Alt is kind of my guy if they're going to go tackle. Fuanga is, good right tackle, but they already have a right tackle. I don't mind Newton or Byron Murphy. I think kind of the last blue chip player here is probably Brock Bowers. And if they want to give weapons to Caleb Williams, Brock Bowers would be that guy. You can play him in the slot. New York Jets on the clock. I don't think they're going to be going receiver. I think those still might go offensive line. Fuanga is not a bad play here, especially if he's available at 10. I think the other thing is, if we go to their depth chart, some of their guys are like kind of on 1-year flyers. So let's take a look here. Morgan Moses, old. Tyron Smith, 1-year flyer. Your interior is okay. John Simpson's only there for a year. And if you got a guy like Fuanga who's available at 10, I think it's hard to pass up your right tackle of the future. Number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings on the clock. I don't think they need to take a quarterback here. I think one is going to be available at number 23, whether that is Nix or Penix. You missed out on the top 4 guys. You might as well wait. You have an extra pick here. Yes, you could use, interior is not like a deathly need for you. I do think you will eventually need to kind of supplement that. But at the end of the day, I think defense is kind of more of a need. I think the interior offensive of the defensive line is more of an issue. Henry Bird is there. He's a rookie who was, I'm guessing, undrafted because there is no draft pick there. So a guy that I think could be good for them if they don't want to go defense is Troy Fontenot, who could play on the interior of the offensive line. But with guys like Dallas Turner and Jared Verse available, I think they'll probably go, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. Another thing is here's my issue. They're running a 3-4 defense. And I don't necessarily love the idea of putting he's 6'3", 307. I believe Newton is a little undersized, and so is Byron Murphy. I would more want a guy that's kind of like a run stopper and not a run stopper, but just like a big nose tackle, like a Tavondre Sweat. Unfortunately, you don't have a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick because of the TJ Hawkinson trade. So maybe what we can do here is we can give them, I'm going to give them Jerzon Newton up the middle. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos on the clock. I always struggle with them. I say this every fucking video. I think if we're going to look at their roster, the Denver Broncos, really you can go anywhere. I don't love their team really anywhere. And I think they still need edge. So let's give them Jared Verse. Or actually, let's give them Dallas Turner, top edge off the board. 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the reality is they're probably going to go with a corner here. I think that's the biggest position of need. They also do need a right tackle. So I think that is something they could also look at. Their interior, their offensive line is not horrible. It's not bad. I really do like Andre James. They have Colton Miller. So they're more looking for that right tackle. You're not going to rely on a 7th-round pick. So if you want to look at right tackle and Fuanga is gone, this is a reality that maybe you trade down a little bit and get some draft picks. They have a decent amount, but with a new kind of regime there, they might want to be able to go get a guy a little bit later. And if they want to target a corner, they definitely can. I'm just trying to figure out a team that would maybe want to move up and get one of these defensive interior guys. Maybe what we can do is we can have them trade back with the Rams, and let's give them a 3rd to give them a swap, maybe a 2nd. I don't know. They're not interested in trading for this pick. Like I said, I wish there was a pure 52, and we give them 77. All right, let's force this trade through. They are going to go with Byron Murphy to try and fill the shoes of Aaron Donald. I don't think it's likely that the Rams are able to replace that, but the reality is they at least have to try. At number 14, with the New Orleans Saints, offensive line is really an issue, and I think Fushanu being still here on the board makes a lot of sense for them. They're going to have to fix the Ryan Ramczyk, Cesar Ruiz, kind of Trevor Penning issue at some point. I think Fontenot can do a lot more with his versatility playing on the interior as well, but Fashanu has a higher ceiling for me at tackle. 15 to the Indianapolis Colts. Let's go Quinyon Mitchell. They're going to go corner unless one of the top 3 receivers is there, or possibly Brock Bowers. Seattle Seahawks, Troy Fautanu. But I also do like the idea of going with an edge for the Seattle Seahawks. They've invested there in the last couple drafts with, later round picks. But I just... Uchenna Nwosu and Boye Mafe, good. They took Derek Hall last year in the second round. I just think I don't know. I think they might go offensive line. So I'm going to go Fautanu. And the reason why is I believe Mike McDonald might be let me see what I can do with this defense. And if it's something that we need to address, we can do it next year in the draft. Let me see what I have here, because these are not his players, right? He's a new head coach. Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Latu could be a good pick here. I think Jared Verse could be a good pick here. I am going to give them Terran Arnold, though, out of Alabama to pair with Tyson Campbell. 18 to the Cincinnati Bengals. I think I'm going to give them Jared Verse to put next to Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. You are getting a gruesome pass rush, and especially with the quarterbacks that you're going to be facing in the AFC, you're going to want to make them uncomfortable, and that's a big thing in being able to beat Mahomes, is being able to pressure him. And I know he's really good when he's out in that creative space, but the reality is if you're not able to pressure him, he's just going to pick you apart all day. Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. I am going to have him go either Amarius Mims or J.C. Latham. J.C. Latham is kind of the guy you can play right now. Amarius Mims is the guy you're going to have to develop a little bit. I think the Raiders might want to swing a little bit more on upside, so I'm going to give them Amarius Mims. At number 20, they need edge help. Latu to the Atlanta Falcons. They're able to trade back, get draft capital, and still take one of the top 3 edges in the draft. At number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins. I don't think right tackle is out of it. I don't think any of the interior guys are out of it. With the defensive interior guys gone, I think what I'm going to do is I like the idea of J.C. Latham, but you re-signed Austin Jackson. If he could play left tackle, I'd be a little bit more open to it. I'm going to go Jackson Powers Johnson. He can play guard. Well, it's him or Graham Barton. Graham Barton truly has 5 position versatility. So I think that's what I'm going to do, because you don't know if you can count on Teron Armstead for 17 games a year. At 22 to the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to give them Cooper DeJean. I had him skip over him yesterday. I think that's probably where he's going to land, here or in Green Bay. 23, we have the Minnesota Vikings. They took Jerzon Newton with the first pick. I am going to have them take... I think I'm going to take Michael Penix Jr. I like his arm a little bit more, especially with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I don't think I have a hard time picking whether I like Penix or Nix more, but at the end of the day, I think it's just flavor, and I think Penix would fit better in Minnesota. And the reality is the Vikings are getting a quarterback in the first round this year because they don't have a second or third round pick, so they have to make something shake in the first round unless they're going to run it with Michael Pratt. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys. If they are able to replace Tyler Biadasz with Jackson Powers Johnson, they will be ecstatic. 25 to the Green Bay Packers. I am going to give them Kool-Aid McKinstry to go back there with Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes. 26 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So here's the thing. I have heard things about, J.C. Latham being able to play guard, and some teams have projected him to guard. So if we look at what team am I on? Why am I blanking? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here we go. If we look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and we look at who they have on the offensive line, you have Tristan Wirfs, you have Godecki, you have Cody Mock, Robert Hainsey. I think he can probably play center. Sua Peta is kind of where I'm a little bit concerned. He's not bad, but I don't know if he's going to be your long-term guy. And J.C. Latham might be able to step in and play there with what is available on the board. I think it is kind of tough. I don't know if you want to go Zach Frazier this high. You're going to get probably a higher value player here. You could also go corner. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him Nate Wiggins off the value of the fact that he's still there. At number 27, we have the and the knee corner anyway after dealing Carlton Davis. 27 to the Arizona Cardinals, we have them going Marvin Harrison Jr. I am actually going to go J.C. Latham here, and let me tell you why. So I have come around to the idea of the fact of, okay, yes, Jonah Williams is there, and you also have Paris Johnson. Jonah Williams is not your long-term tackle, and right now, if you need, J.C. Latham can play on the interior, so let's look to the future for tackle. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills on the clock. Brian Thomas Jr. is a very simple pick for them. 29, we have the Detroit Lions. So I think they need corner bad. But I also think pairing, maybe this is a reach. But what if you had Keon Coleman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jameson Williams? I think that might be something. I think it might be something. I don't think it's probably going to happen, but I think you get a kind of a different type of receiver in that room, and you're able to kind of work with something else. And I think Ben Johnson will be able to scheme him open pretty well. And then you have a very high-power offense. 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens on the clock with Adonai Mitchell going to Baltimore to pair with Zay Flowers. 31 to the San Francisco 49ers. I am going to give them TJ Tampa to buff up that secondary room. And finally, with the Kansas City Chiefs, what are we going to do? Well, first off, let's look at a team. Let's look at some of the teams that are kind of on the cusp of the first round here that may want to trade in. We have the Panthers. We have, the Chargers. I'm trying to think. Okay, so let's see. We got Tyler Guyton, Zach Frazier, Ladd McConkey. None of these guys are really worth trading in, for my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have the Chiefs take Chop Robinson. This has been Mock Draft Madness Day 29. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite mock draft. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't necessarily love this one. I don't love how the board fell. I don't know if I love some of the picks, but I've said this a couple times. If you're doing this many mock drafts in a day and you're kind of just letting them fly, you're not going to love every one. But at the same time, who fucking knows what's actually going to happen in April in 27 days? So this is what we got today. So let me know in the comments. Let me know trade scenarios also you want to see me try. But have a great night. Thank you.